Nice looking man though.
Okay. Sure. He's not
Him
your type.
and
It's
Conan.
good. So this is a short clip of Henry Cavill talking about Warhammer 40K and what he would do if he was in charge of the show or a version adaptation of it. And this was before he was in charge of an adaptation of it or a part of one. Now he is. So I wanted to play this clip when I had Max here because he knows he's a Warhammer 40K expert, and he said backstage that if it exists in 40K, he would know it.
Oh boy,
And
that word for word, eh?
Pretty
Did
much.
we record that? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we were recording. And so I want to go through this, play it, and see if or Don, you know a little bit about it too, right?
I know very small amount of it. I know some of the Primarchs and some of the timelines when it comes to 30 and 40K, so a little bit.
What's a Primarch? Never mind.
Yeah.
Wrong time for that question. So let's give it a play. I think Spotify, I think it's probably all right, hey?
Yeah,
why not?
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Is it working? Are you guys getting audio, or was this for
Adeptus
nothing?
Titanicus, man, back in my youth.
Okay. Oh, and I have also played that.
Yes,
many
I had an
moons
Eldar
ago.
army when I was a teenager. Loved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, I see that look. I see that. You're like, oh, Eldar.
I apologize for the accents.
Was it? Okay.
Well, I mean,
I thought it was a different
but
language.
it's okay.
but why has there never been a decent adaptation of 40K? That's what I want to know, because I feel like if technology's here to do Lord of the Rings, 40K has some of the most. I mean, it's incredible looking stuff. Like, why don't we have that?
I think because, and quite rightly so, something which I love about Games Workshop is that they've been very protective of their IP, and I think that's a great decision and very wise. And obviously, that'd be something I'd be very excited to do.
Yes, Henry Cavill is Eisenhorn.
I mean, I don't know about Eisenhorn necessarily. When you've got Valdor and Primarchs out there, then it just seems a shame to be a mere Inquisitor. But I would absolutely, I would leap at that opportunity, and it's something I'd be very, very excited to do. But I'm glad they have protected their IP, and there haven't been just loads of TV shows and movies and stuff done poorly. It needs to be handled perfectly. It needs to be handled to a Lord of the Rings level, and if it's not, I'll be massively disappointed. And
do not be the guy who ruined Warhammer. Like, that's
absolutely. And we'll see. Maybe I could be the guy who does Lord of the Rings
for Warhammer
level of Warhammer 40K or 30K or whatever. I don't know.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, 40K or classical fantasy? Like, do you both or just 40K?
Actually, classical fantasy I also enjoy because of the Total War games.
Yeah.
And,
yes, of course,
and also, I was that guy kid, teenager, adult, who bought all of the Warhammer Fantasy Armies books and all of the codexes and would just read them and fancy list build. I never had a chance to actually play with anyone, but it's I would list build in my head. I would get all the lore in there and learn all the rules, and I loved that. And so it was both. I mean, and the Sigmar storyline is fantastic as well. I haven't played Age of Sigmar. I haven't got into that yet, but the books written about Sigmar were brilliant. I enjoyed those. And so there's a potential for a storyline there as well.
So much stuff.
There is so much stuff. And that world is so rich, and that universe is so exciting. And that is the true dream job opportunity.
Yeah.
If I were to have the opportunity to to show that as live action, I think it's important to say that.
Yeah.
Then I would be ecstatic.
That would be amazing. What was your chosen chapter?
Chosen chapter?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's okay. Adeptus Custodes, which is, they're not Space Marines, so they're not chapters. If I were to go for a chapter, it would either be, these are before Custodes came out, Blood Angels were my chapter, and also Salamanders.
Oh, okay.
They were my two favorites.
If you're looking at Cal, I just thought Space Wolves would have been on the agenda. But
I mean, Space Wolves are cool, really cool, and they are great.
I mean, Space Wolves is cool.
Thing is, I'm a bit of a loyalist, even with my own stuff. And so I felt guilty just having two chapters. And so you can't then go, oh, okay, I'll be Space Wolves as well.
Yeah.
Space Wolves are really cool. And I thought, I'm going to let them be cool from a distance and do it that way. I mean, I also enjoyed the idea of Grey Knights as well, because them being the ultimate of demon hunters was great. And actually all the new stuff they have out now is they are quite strong within the meta, I believe. But yeah, I would say Blood Angels for their nature and what they represent, and the same with Salamanders.
Amazing. Well, Henry, thank you very much indeed for nerding out with me today.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Anytime.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
That was Henry Cavill.
You gotta love him dunking on those space wolves, right, guys?
Oh,
Oh,
they're not furries in space at all.
They are not, from what I saw, but I know nothing about 40K, so
Damn, that was
any takeaways from
Holy
that from guys
shit.
who know what they're talking about?
Salamanders
it.
cringe.
Oh, because their skin? Is that what you're saying, Don?
They're naughty faction.
Oh no.
Oh.
The salamanders have black skin, so Don is
I get it.
are you telling me know my place?
They also have they're like the most human, right? Like
Absolutely.
they have like families, salamanders, right?
Yeah, so the salamanders are seen as kind of the most humane, if you can be in the 41st millennium. You know, everyone's still killing each other. But yeah, the salamanders are still seen as like the most humane. Like they still have families. They still try and protect like civilians and those who tend to be more of like humanities, like those who still have this kind of like civility, free will type of outlook on things. But yeah, so the salamanders are definitely like, if you could pick a faction that would be like the good guys, quote unquote, you know, you've got your salamanders, whereas like the Black Templars are like the bad guys of the Space Marines, because they're just so outrageously like which is why I love them. They're just so outrageously like die hard for the cause of like purge the heretic, kill the unclean, you know. They're very like, you know, they're warrior
On
monks.
board.
Yeah, they're great. They're a lot of fun. But Jesus, man, yeah, there was so much in that, in just that little clip to unpack. There's so much, but yeah, I really enjoyed listening to that. Thanks for showing that, dude. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was someone had shared that with me. So they specifically hoping to get your thoughts on it. So
I don't want to take too much time because I could talk, you know, you guys know I could talk about Warhammer for hours, but I do like that because he's a Custodes guy, Adeptus Custodes. So if you think about like, you know, Space Marines, so if like this this is like your Space Marine armor, Zax, I have Valdor, I have him pulled up. I'm sharing my screen. So if you want to pull up Valdor, so this is the guy who he was talking about. So this is one of the first Adeptus Custodes. He just had a book written through the Black Library that I haven't gotten a chance to read yet, but I was listening to the audio, the book on tape, and it's really, really fascinating. But this is who he was talking about, like where he was like, I would want to maybe do something like this. The Adeptus Custodes are like this faction that are the Emperor's like first security. Like these guys are like Space Marines on steroids, on TRT, on Tren, and then on more steroids. Like the Custodes are badass, super based, and they are the protectors of the Emperor while he was still alive. And you know, well, I guess I should say like the very first ones. And then Space Marines were created out of, you know, later. But so this whenever he talks about his army being the Adeptus Custodes or Valdor, this is who he's talking about. So, but what else did he say? Oh, I like that he said he doesn't want to adapt. He wants to show. And I think that's really cool. There's a difference between an adaptation and just a one-for-one showing what is on the pages or showing what's in the books or showing what's in the tabletop game. So I think that was a cool terminology that he utilized.
I like that too, even though I know nothing about 40K, because I'm seeing a lot of people use that excuse of, well, this is their adaptation, this is their vision, and shit straying pretty far from the source material.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know nothing about it, but just hearing that mentality going into it, I would be, you know, more likely to at least check it out.
Oh, absolutely. And I think
he's a man who I feel like doesn't say anything by accident, really, and he's fairly careful with what he does say. And so I think everything there, like you said, you picked out. Yeah, you're right. It's not. He didn't say adaptation.
And not only is he careful with his words, but like he said at the very beginning of the podcast, he said Games Workshop has been very careful with their IP, and sometimes almost to a fault, to where Games Workshop will like take down channels and flag channels that are doing fan made content, or like fan movies or CGI that might like resemble Space Marines. Games Workshop will yank that shit quicker than you can even dream of, because they want their lore pure. So it's a catch-22. It's like, in order to have this thing that is so pure and so ingrained in like what the Games Workshop is doing, you have to be that you almost have to be that vigilant when looking after your IP. And they could have handled those situations much better than just like tearing down people's channels and shit like that. It was hard to watch that, but I think you do have to be careful when protecting an IP that is this expansive, right? So, but yeah, so I think that if they do that, if they continue to be very vigilant and keep the IP close to home, and there's not a lot of corporate level interference with Amazon, I think they can really do something great.